Welcome to the GDPR online training module. This training will outline what GDPR is, outline the 6 GDPR principles, outline your individual rights, outline what Kent Union and GK unions are doing, outline what your responsibilities are and provide examples of this, and test your knowledge. What is GDPR? GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation. It relates to any personal data, meaning that an individual is identified or identifiable through that data. Personal data may include name, address, phone number, date of birth, and email address. A further category of personal data is special category data, which includes ethnicity, religious beliefs, sexual orientation, political beliefs, criminal record, and health information. Any personal data must be processed in line with the 6 data protection principles. These are to be processed fairly, lawfully, and transparently, to be collected and processed only for specified, explicit, and legitimate purposes, and not further used in any way that is incompatible with those purposes, to be adequate, relevant, and limited to what is necessary for the purposes for which it is to be processed, to be accurate and kept up to date, to not be kept longer than is necessary for the purposes for which it is processed, and to be processed securely and kept securely. When did this happen? This legislation came into place on the 25th of May 2018 under the Data Protection Act 2018 and affects the way we all collect, process, use and destroy personal data. Individual rights. As part of the Data Protection Act 2018, individuals have the following rights. The right to be informed. This means you will be informed if any personal data is collected. The right of access. This means you have a right to access information held on you. This is also known as subject access request. The right to rectification. This means you have the right for inaccurate information to be rectified. The right to erasure. This means you have the right for personal data to be erased, also known as the right to be forgotten. However, this only applies in certain circumstances. The right to restrict processing. This means individuals can request a restriction on their personal data. However, this only applies in certain circumstances. The right to data portability. This means that individuals have the right to move their data between systems. The right to object. This means individuals have the right to object to their data being processed in certain circumstances. What are Kent Union and GK unions doing? We will only retain your personal information for as long as necessary to fulfil the purposes we collected it for. In some circumstances, we may anonymise your personal information so that it can no longer be associated with you. Once you are no longer a volunteer, we will retain such data for a period of 1 year unless required by any regulatory, insurance or legal reason otherwise, and then securely destroy your personal information. We will not use your personal data for an unrelated purpose without telling you about it and the legal basis that we intend to rely on for processing it. Some reasons we will collect data on you include, but are not limited to, if you are in a leadership role, your details will appear on the Kent Union or GK Union website so that interested members can contact you. Training you and reviewing your performance. To monitor diversity and equal opportunities. To monitor and protect the security, including network security, of the organisation, of you, our other staff, customers and others. To monitor and protect the health and safety of you, our other staff, customers and third parties. To provide reimbursements. Monitoring compliance by you, us and others with our policies and our contractual obligations. To comply with laws which affect us. To answer questions from insurers in respect of any insurance policies which relate to you. Running our organisation and planning for the future, including volunteer satisfaction surveys. The prevention and detection of fraud or other criminal offences. To carry out a disciplinary or grievance investigation or procedure in relation to you or someone else. To defend the organisation in respect of any investigation or litigation, and to comply with any court or tribunal orders for disclosure. And for any other reason which we may notify you of from time to time. Other than as mentioned above, we will only disclose information about you to third parties if we are legally obliged to do so, or where we need to comply with our contractual duties to you. For instance, we need to pass on certain information to the University of Kent, University of Greenwich, Bucks and other institutes to comply with contractual requirements. What are your responsibilities as a Kent Union or GK Unions volunteer? As a Kent Union or GK Unions volunteer, you are required to comply with the rules and regulation of GDPR in your actions. Specifically, this means that if you collect people's data, you tell them the name of the group or activity, why you want the data and what it's going to be used for, and for how long it will be kept, as well as storing it securely. Ensure that you don't share the data with anyone without the person's consent. You don't use the information for reasons other than agreed to by the person. Consent must be freely given and records of consent must be kept securely. Password protect documents containing personal data, and if sending via email, ensure the password is sent in a separate email. Examples of how GDPR might apply to your volunteer role. A trip list. When completing a trip list or collecting personal details for the reason of going on a trip, you must ensure that all details are stored securely and then destroyed once the trip is complete. Welcome fair. When collecting new student details, you are only able to use their data for the purpose that they signed up for. This includes contacting them about the group's activities and how to get involved. You should not share their details with any third parties, and you should not contact them for reasons not related to group activities. Mailing lists. If you use a mailing list for your role, ensure you have that person's permission to contact them and they are clear what they are consenting to. Once the academic year has ended, or if a student leaves the group or activity before this period of time, you will need to edit or destroy the mailing list. Team sheets. When completing team sheets, ensure a copy is handed in to Kent Union or GK Unions and that all other copies are kept securely and destroyed annually. Quotes. When getting a quote from a student or member, ensure it is accurate and that you have their permission, especially if the quote is attributed to them. Awards. When nominating someone for an award, their permission needs to be gained for that award to be considered by the panel. For more information, please visit this link. If you have any questions, please contact your relevant coordinator.